Army angry. Jon Bellion says Jungkook's vocals were altered with Autotune, but what's the purpose? The world of K-pop music has once again been rocked by a comment that made ARMY, BTS's global fandom, react violently. This time, the spotlight falls on Jon Bellion, an American singer, producer, and songwriter involved in the production of BTS's Jungkook solo songs. In an interview or broadcast behind the scenes, Jon Bellion said that Jungkook's vocals are processed using Autotune to create certain effects that match the feel of the song. Sounds familiar at first glance. The modern music industry often uses Autotune either for tonal improvement or as an artistic effect. But what makes this statement explode is not only the content of the speech, but how it is conveyed, as well as the perception that is then attached. His statement that reads, "We processed his vocals with Autotune to fit the vibe," instantly become trending on various social media platforms. Many ARMY members felt that the comments diminished the value of Jungkook's natural vocal abilities, who has been known as the main vocalist with strong, clear, and very stable vocal abilities even when performing live, after the statement was spread. The ARMY from various countries immediately voiced disappointment. They felt that the Autotune narrative had been too often used by outsiders of the K-pop industry to belittle or question the quality of Korean singers, and this time it hit Jungkook. Comments like, "You talk like Jungkook needs Autotune," though he sings live more stable than most Western artists. "She once performed on stage with heavy choreography and remained stable. Don't be a lip-sync artist. If only to adjust the feel of the song, say so. But don't feel like he's not good enough without Autotune." Although it seemed to spark controversy, some fans and music observers tried to see Jon Bellion's statement from a different point of view. According to them, Jon is not actually underestimating Jungkook's vocal abilities, but is explaining the creative production process. In the world of modern music production, Autotune is not always used to improve the tone. Many producers use Autotune to provide distinctive sonic effects, such as a more dreamy, robotic, or electronic sound, especially in genres such as EDM, synthpop, to trap R&B, which color Jungkook's songs a lot. For example, in the songs 7 or Standing Next to You, there are parts where the vocal layer is artistically modified, not because the vocals are not good, but to create a certain sound character that matches the mood of the song as of the time of writing. There has been no official statement from Big Hit Music or Jungkook regarding the controversy. However, some fans reminded that Jungkook himself once spoke in a live broadcast about how he was directly involved in the vocal production process, and he was aware and agreed that some effects were added for artistic purposes. Even in one of the clips from the recording session, Jungkook's real voice is clearly heard without any effect, stable, emotional, and very strong. This became proof that Autotune is not a crutch for abilities, but only one of the many tools of modern music production. That afternoon, the atmosphere of the rehearsal studio felt different. Jungkook sat alone in a corner of the room, earphones plugged into his ears, listening again to his recently recorded vocal demo. Outside the room, the chattering voices of the staff and producers were still faintly audible. But within that small space, there was only one voice, his own. That voice, clear, round, full of emotion, the same one that his fans around the world have known for so long. However, that day there was one thing that disturbed his mind. It's not about missing notes or poorly fitting harmonies, but about one sentence he accidentally heard through a clip of Jon Bellion's interview. "We processed his vocals with Autotune to fit the vibe." Jungkook is not a person who is easily ignited by comments. The music world is full of different approaches. But it wasn't because the comments cast doubt on his abilities, it was because ARMY's reaction flooded social media with concern, disappointment, even anger. He felt guilty, not for using Autotune, but because his fans' feelings were hurt. He knew that all this time they believed in him with all their hearts. And that trust built from dozens of live performances, endless rehearsals, and drops of sweat over the years, suddenly as if doubted by one sentence coming out of another person. A few moments later, a staff member approached him while carrying a tablet. "Do you want to read all this?" he said, pointing to various tweets from the ARMY. Some are angry, partly confused. Some wrote small poems about Jungkook's voice that had saved them. Jungkook smiled a little, then shook his head. Not necessary. I know they are angry because they are dear. The staff lowered slowly. You're not going to respond? Jungkook stared out the window. His eyes are empty, but his heart is full. Sometimes, silence is the best way to appreciate the feelings of those who believe in me. However, in the midst of his silence, he still wanted to do something. Not in the form of lengthy clarification or defense, but in the form in which it is best mastered, music. That night, Jungkook opens his laptop, opening an old file that he has never released, a raw vocal recording of a ballad he wrote in hard times. Without effect, without edit, only piano and voiced, he uploaded it secretly on Weverse, only with the caption, "For you who hear my voice, not only with your ears, but with your heart." In a matter of minutes, this simple clip went viral. Armies all over the world immediately understood what he meant. They cry, they smile, and they know that voice needs no defense. That voice is the truth. On the other hand, Jimin, who read Army's comments and saw Jungkook's tacit response, could only take a deep breath. He typed something on Twitter. People can talk about anything technical, but I know, even in the quietest middle of the night, it's the sound that calms me down. And I know you feel it too. Army is increasingly convinced. Nothing can replace the sincerity of Jungkook's voice. Not autotune, not outside producer comments, not strangers' opinions. All they need is his voice. Because behind every song, there is always Jungkook who sings with his heart. Days after Jungkook's raw vocal upload rocked Weverse and calmed Army, finally, Jon Bellion's management released an official statement through the producer's social media account. We would like to clarify that Jon's statement about Autotune is in no way to underestimate the quality of Jungkook's vocals. We really appreciate the purity and strength of her vocals, and the production process simply adapts to the artistic needs of the song. Jungkook is one of the most incredible vocalists we've ever worked with. Jon Bellion himself re-uploaded a video clip of Jungkook's live performance from a previous concert, accompanied by a caption. Live performance like this cannot be made with autotune. Respect, Jungkook. The Army's response began to soften. Many accepted the apology and clarification with an open heart because the point is not just about who is wrong, but about making sure that the talent of an artist is appreciated as it should be. In Seoul, Jungkook received the news through his staff. He read slowly, then just smiled, not because of the victory, but because finally the silence could again be filled with music, not debate. Between physical training and his tight military schedule, he found time to write a few lyric verses. He wrote it on the back of the last page of his voice notebook, a short but meaningful sentence. People will talk, but our voices will continue to sing. And I will sing not to prove anything, but because I know who hears me. And with a small smile that had just returned engraved on his face, Jungkook stared into the night sky of his military headquarters. He knows that not everything needs to be explained. Sometimes, with just one note, the world will understand. Jon Bellion's statement exposes a major dilemma in today's music world, where the line between production technique and artistic recognition is often blurred. For fans like Army, Jungkook's autotune comments aren't just technical, but it concerns the appreciation of the hard work, ability, and reputation of an artist who has proven himself many times. Was Jon Bellion intent on understatement? Probably not. But in a globalized world that is so sensitive to representations and stereotypes, even accidental words can cause injury if not delivered appropriately. Maybe it's time for international producers to be more careful and give a fair context. That Jungkook's vocals are not only worthy of the world, but have become the new standard in the global pop industry. And for the Army, one thing remains certain. Jungkook doesn't need autotune to make the world fall in love with him.